Hello everyone, it's good to be with you today. Welcome to Thursday's edition of Take 5. We are in the series, The Faithful Steward. And we've learned now that God is the owner of everything. Everything belongs to Him. Everything that you and I possess, everything that our name is on, all of it, it all belongs to God. And we are the stewards. That's what God created us for. We saw from Genesis yesterday that from the very beginning, God created mankind to be stewards over His creation and over His resources. And so that's what we are striving to do here. Now remember, a steward is a manager of someone else's goods. It means it doesn't belong to us. We've just been given the responsibility and the privilege of doing business for the owner. A genuine, heartfelt giver is going to always be a good steward of God's resources. Now, when God gives these resources, He gives them according to our ability to handle. That's going to bring us to Matthew 25 and the parable of the talents. There's a beautiful picture here of stewardship and how God passes out the talents, the resources, the money is what He was talking about here. How He does that according to people's ability to steward it. And that's why I tell you it's so important for us to learn to be good stewards. We cannot just be good givers. We've got to be good stewards. So let's look at Matthew 25 real quick today and learn some valuable lessons. Now remember, this week we are primarily talking about our finances, the resources that God has given us. Next week we'll talk about the other things that God intends for us to steward. But this week we're primarily talking about finances because, we started out by asking the question, why do I give and I still have all of these financial problems? That's what we're trying to answer. The answer is, in a nutshell, it's because of the lack of stewardship. But let's see how God looks at this thing. Matthew 25, begin at verse 14. He says, the kingdom of heaven is like a man traveling to a far country who called his own servants to him and delivered his goods to them. So Jesus here is telling us how things operate in the kingdom of heaven. Now you would think that we would strive to emulate these things instead of following after a worldly system like we do. I think we forget that there has never been a worldly system that was established by the thinking of man that has not failed to this day. Every worldly system has failed. But the kingdom system has never failed. God's concept of giving and receiving, sowing and reaping, that has never failed. And so we need to begin to strive to follow that kingdom system. So listen to the story. He says to one He gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, each according to his own ability, and immediately he went on his journey. Now He gave these talents according to their ability, the ability that each one had to manage those resources. Now in America we would say that's not fair, but in the kingdom it is just. And that's what's most important, that things are justly done and justly deserved. So God gives according to our ability. So don't be jealous that somebody that has more than you, maybe they may have more ability than you. Hey, you could change your ability if you would just steward what you have, and then maybe God could trust you with more resources. Let's read on. We'll see about that. Then he that received the 5 talents went and traded them and made another 5 talents. And likewise he that received 2 gained 2 more. But he that received the 1 went and dug in the ground and hid his Lord's money. It's amazing how some Christians think that they're exempt from having to think about stewardship because they don't have very much. Actually, they fail to comprehend that it's being faithful in the little bit that leads to us being entrusted with even more. After a long time, the Lord of those servants came and settled accounts with them. And we need to remember that because Jesus is going to settle accounts with us. He's watching to see how we manage what He has given us. He knows what the resources He's given us should produce, and He's going to weigh that against what we actually do with them. And oh, by the way, He also knows if we do nothing at all with what He has given us. So he that received the 5 talents came and brought 5 other talents and said, Lord, you delivered to me 5, and I have gained 5 more beside them. And his Lord said, well done, good and faithful servant. You were faithful over a few things. I will make you rulers over many. Enter into the joy of the Lord. That, by the way, that's the only time in the Bible that phrase, well done, good and faithful servant, appears. There in Luke 19, you see it's used in a sense there. This is the only time the Bible uses it, and it's referring to stewardship. Everybody that's saved and goes to heaven is not going to necessarily hear those words, well done, good and faithful servant, because there are a lot of people that are saved that are not good stewards. There are a lot of people that are saved that are doing nothing for the kingdom of God, and he doesn't have anything to say well done to them for. So it matters, and please remember, he is looking at what we do with what he's given us. He that received the 2 talents came and said, Lord, you delivered to me 2 talents, and I've gained 2 more beside them. And his Lord said to him also, well done, good and faithful servant. You were faithful over few, and I'll make you ruler over many. The person with the 2 talents got the same well done as the guy with the 5 talents, because God judges according to your obedience and according to your heart, and not according to the amount. Then he that received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew that you were a hard man, reaping where you've not sown and gathering where you've not scattered. And I was afraid and went and hid your talent in the ground. Look, you have what is yours. The design of this parable is for us to understand that no one is excused for neglecting their duty, whether they have much or whether they have little. God requires something out of us. But his Lord answered and said, you wicked and lazy servant. You hear how he changed that the term there? Now it's you wicked and lazy. It's not good and faithful, but wicked and lazy. You knew that I reap where I've not sown and gather where I've not scattered. You should have deposited my money with the bankers, and at my coming I would have received my own with interest. Take the talent from him and give it to the one that has the 10. This is the demise of everyone that refuses to be a good and godly steward. What a terrible reality to see the same owner that gave you the talent to begin with to turn around and take it away from you because you refuse to be a steward. There's sometimes that we lose things in life because we were not a good godly steward, and we don't need to blame the devil on it. It's not the devil taking it. It very well could be the owner taking it and giving it to someone that will be a good steward. You don't have to be a 5 talent, a 2 talent, or 1 talent person always. You can increase your ability, but God is looking for long-term fidelity in stewardship. And when he sees that, he will begin to trust you with more. Stewardship is important, friend. We better learn it, and we better do it. Well, hey, I've got to get out of here. It's been good being with you today. I look forward to being with you tomorrow on Friday's edition of Take 5. Till then, God bless you. Have a great day. Remember, friend, trust the Lord. He will never fail you.